Okay, so we've all been there, right? Stuck on hold with that call center music forever, just waiting for like a real person to pick
Oh,
up the phone.
the worst.
But like, what if that voice on the other end wasn't a person at all?
Hmm.
That's what we're looking at today. AI in call centers. We're going deep on a 6-minute English video. It's from BBC Learning English. It's on YouTube. It's all about like this trend of using AI in these places and what it means for the people working in the industry.
Yeah, and it's not just like a small thing. There's something like 17 million call center workers
Yeah,
worldwide.
that's a lot of people.
It's huge.
Yeah.
And big hubs for call centers. Places
Yeah.
like India, the Philippines.
Right. And that brings us to our main source for this deep dive. A woman named Mylene Caballona. The BBC talked to her.
It did.
She's like a union president representing call center workers in the Philippines.
Okay.
So she knows what she's talking about. And her perspective on this whole AI thing.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. One of the first things she does is just lay it all out there, how hard this job is. I mean, dealing with frustrated customers, angry people all day long. It's got to be draining.
Totally. Emotionally, stressful, all
Yeah,
that.
exactly. And now, on top of all that, they're bringing AI a lot of times to like keep track of how the workers are doing,
Uh-huh.
which I guess you could say it's meant to be helpful, but like from Eileen's point of view, it's kind of scary. It feels like the slippery slope towards losing your job to a machine.
Yeah, for sure. I can see that.
Right. And she even brings up a study that says 27% of call center jobs could be replaced by AI really soon. That's a lot of people out of work.
As a matter of fact, that's a huge number.
Yeah, it really makes you think about the human cost of progress.
For sure.
And this is where I think Mylene gets to something really important. Her argument is that AI can never really replace us because it's missing something essential. Empathy.
Empathy.
Yeah, so like what does that even mean in this situation?
Well, it's got to be more than just like being polite or following the script. It's about actually understanding what someone else is feeling, connecting with them, human to human, especially when they're upset or
Yeah.
stressed.
Right. It's that real connection.
Right.
Which is like the hardest thing to program into a computer, I would think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
With today's tech, at least,
Yeah.
it's just not possible to replicate.
Yeah. You know, the BBC actually included this clip of Mylene talking about exactly this. Let's hear it.
Okay.
A-wa CLP of Mylene Caballona.
Well, I don't think AI could, is, empathetic or whenever they talk. I mean, if ever a machine or a robot talks to them, people are more compassionate than, when you talk to a robot.
Yeah.
It's really something to hear her talking about it. Like she's searching for the right words, trying to explain something that's really personal, hard to put into words.
Totally. It's a tough question. Can we even program empathy? Is that possible? Or is it just a human thing tied to our experiences?
Yeah. And her emotions.
It's like you can hear her thinking, trying to figure out exactly what it is about that human connection that makes it so irreplaceable, makes her point even stronger.
It does. She's not just giving us facts and figures, it's lived experience.
Exactly.
She gets it, the emotional part of this work. And she really believes only another human being can do that.
So now we're left with this kind of tension. On one side, AI could make things more efficient, but then there's that worry about losing the human element, that real connection.
Yeah, it's a real dilemma.
It makes you wonder, what's next for customer service? Are we all just going to be talking to robots?
That's the question, isn't it? And, it doesn't have to be just one or the other. Maybe it's not AI versus humans, but AI and humans working together.
Together. Okay, so like finding that middle ground where AI does the boring stuff.
For like the repetitive tasks.
And humans step in when it's complicated, needs that empathy.
Exactly. That's definitely something to think about. And we'll look at it more as we keep going this deep dive. But first, we need to talk about the potential problems, the challenges of using AI responsibly. And that's what we'll be getting into next. So we just talked about like some of the worries, the concerns people have about AI in call centers. But like, is it all bad?
So you're saying there's another side to this story?
Yeah. The next source we're going to look at, it's way more optimistic, actually suggests that AI could be good, could make things better, both for the customers and the people working in call centers.
Okay, hold on. Really? More optimistic. Where's this coming from?
It's a research paper from Deloitte.
Deloitte.
Yeah, the big consulting firm.
Yeah, of course. So like, they're pretty deep in the business world.
They are. So their take on this is worth thinking about.
Okay, so Deloitte. What are they saying? How's AI going to make things better?
One of their main points is that AI can handle a lot of the boring, repetitive tasks that call center workers get stuck with.
Yes.
Answering the same questions over and over, routing calls, collecting basic information. That can get old fast.
Yeah, I can see how that would burn you out, feeling like a robot yourself.
Right. And that's where AI could step in. Automate those processes, free up the humans to deal with more, well, interesting stuff.
Okay, so instead of being stuck in a script, they could actually, like, use their brains,
Yeah.
solve problems, be creative, maybe even use that empathy we were talking about.
Yeah, exactly, to help customers with those tricky situations where you really need a human touch.
I like that.
Yeah. And Deloitte's research actually shows that this shift could lead to happier workers, less burnout.
Okay, that makes sense. I know I'd be a lot happier if my work felt meaningful instead of just going through the motions all day.
Right. But what about the customers? Would they even notice a difference?
Yeah, good point. Is this just going to mean we're all talking to robots from now on?
Not necessarily. It's not about replacing humans completely, more like a team effort, where AI works in the background.
Supporting the human agents.
Right, like a dynamic duo, AI handling the data and stuff, while the human comes in for those moments where you need real empathy.
Like the AI is the sidekick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And there are actually examples of this happening already. Think about those AI chatbots you see on websites.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Sometimes they're helpful. Sometimes I just want to yell human at my computer.
I get it. The tech is still being developed. But it's getting better all the time. Understanding language, responding more naturally.
So you're saying someday we might not even realize we're talking to a bot?
Could be. And even when we do talk to a human, AI could be helping them behind the scenes, analyzing data, identifying patterns, suggesting solutions.
It's like the AI is giving the agents superpowers.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay, that's actually kind of cool. So Deloitte's saying that this human-AI partnership is the key. Happier workers and happier customers.
That's the idea. It's a pretty hopeful vision of what the future could be.
Okay, I'm getting on board with this AI thing a little more. But I do still wonder, like, how's it going to work in the real world? How do we make sure AI is used responsibly? Things could go wrong, right?
Totally a valid concern. And to be fair to Deloitte, they do bring that up. They say we need to be careful. Transparency, accountability, making sure humans are in control. That's all important.
So it's not just building cool technology, but making sure it helps everyone, the workers and the customers.
Exactly. Deloitte calls it a human-centered approach to AI, putting people first.
Okay, I like that. It shouldn't just be about profits. We got to think about how this tech affects society, too.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a whole other conversation about the ethics of AI. We could probably spend a whole nother deep dive on just that.
So we've gone from robots stealing all the jobs to this idea that AI could actually help workers and maybe even make customers happier. It seems like there's a lot of potential, but also a lot of responsibility.
For sure. It all comes down to choices. How we design this tech, how we use it. It's up to us to make sure it goes in the right direction.
So it's not about being afraid of AI. It's about understanding it, challenging it, making it work for us, for our values.
Right. And that brings us to something both our sources actually agree on, even though they come at this from different
Oh,
angles.
really? What's that?
They both say human skills are going to be super important in the future, even more than they are now.
Wait, so even with all this AI, there's still a place for us humans for what we're good at.
Totally. Things like critical thinking, creativity, problem solving, emotional intelligence.
And that empathy we were talking about.
Exactly. Those are the skills that will set us apart, make us valuable in the job market.
So we got to keep learning, keep growing, adapt to this changing world.
Right. And it's not just about the technical stuff. It's about those soft skills, those human qualities, the things that make us, well, us.
Love that. Embrace our humanity, not try to be more like machines.
Exactly. And get this. Some people think AI could actually help us improve those human skills.
Wait, seriously?
Imagine AI that can analyze how we communicate, give us feedback, help us become better communicators.
So instead of replacing us, AI could be like coaching us, helping us level up.
Yeah, like having a personal coach available 24/7.
That's wild. This is a lot different from the robots are taking over story we hear so often.
It is. It shows that the future isn't set. We have a say in what it looks like, how AI fits into our lives, our work.
And that it works for us, not the other way around. But we can't do it alone, right? This isn't just about individual choices. We need bigger changes.
Totally. That's where governments come in, policymakers. They have a huge role to play in making sure this transition to an AI-powered world happens responsibly.
fairly.
So what can they do? What does that even look like?
Well, they can start by investing in education and training. Make sure people have the skills they need for these new jobs so no one gets left behind.
Right. It's got to be about everyone benefiting, not just a few lucky people. Yeah. And remember, it's not just technical skills. It's about fostering that critical thinking, that creativity, the emotional smarts. Those are the things that will make humans truly valuable.
So governments need to be thinking big picture.
And they do. They can also encourage ethical AI development. Set some rules. Make sure AI is used for good, not for bad stuff. And we'll even consider things like universal basic income or retraining programs to help people who lose their jobs because of automation.
A system that supports everyone.
Right. Making sure the benefits of AI are shared and no one gets left behind.
That's a big challenge. Needs governments, businesses, individuals,
Yeah.
all working together.
Totally. It's not just about the tech. It's about our values, our ethics, the kind of world we want.
And that brings us back to our big question. What does AI mean for the future of work, especially in call centers?
It looks like AI could both improve things and shake things up. And how it all turns out really depends on the choices we make, individually and as a society. It's a mixed bag, with both risks and exciting possibilities.
Yeah, for sure. So as we head into the last part of our deep dive, let's shift gears a bit. We've been talking about the practical side of AI in the workplace, but what about the bigger picture?
In the next part, we're going to explore this idea of how humans and machines relate to each other,
Yeah.
how that relationship is changing.
Okay, now you've got me interested. Let's do it. So we've been, digging into AI and how it's changing the way we work, especially in these call centers.
Right, right.
But I'm thinking, like, is there more to this? Is it bigger than just, like, jobs and being more efficient and all that?
I think so, yeah. What if we thought about AI differently? Not just as a tool or even like a threat,
Okay.
but as like a mirror.
A mirror. I'm not sure I'm with you on that one.
Think about it this way.
Mm-hmm.
When we're building these machines, trying to make them think like us, it makes us think too.
Oh, okay.
But what makes us human? What makes us different? It forces us to look at ourselves.
So it's like AI is making us ask these big questions, huh? About, like, what makes us special? What does it even mean to be human?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And thinking about it that way can lead to some really interesting ideas, like take empathy. We were just talking about that, right?
Yeah.
Trying to teach a machine to be empathetic, that makes us really examine what empathy is. Can we, like, program it? Or is it something more, something only humans have?
It's funny. When we heard Mylene talking about how important it is to connect with people, especially in those tough call center situations, she couldn't really explain why it was so important. But she knew it was.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us feel that way.
It's like we're trying to teach a machine to speak a language it doesn't even understand.
Yeah.
And in doing that, we're relearning the language ourselves.
Whoa, I like that. It's not AI replacing us. It's more like helping us evolve, understand ourselves better.
Right. And there's this other piece of this whole thing, this human-machine relationship. It's about coevolution.
Co-evolution. Wait, you mean like humans and machines evolving together? Sounds a bit science fiction-y.
Maybe. But it's already happening. Think about it. As AI gets smarter, it's changing everything.
Yeah.
How we work, communicate, even think. And we're shaping AI too, with our values, our priorities.
So it's like we're both changing each other, like partners in a dance or something.
Exactly. And how that dance turns out, it's up to us.
Yeah.
Will we use AI to bring out the best in us? Or will it make things worse?
It's a lot of responsibility to make the right choices. It's not about being afraid of AI or trying to control it. It's about working with it,
Yeah.
collaborating to create a future where we both can, thrive.
And that collaboration, it's got to go beyond just the tech people. We need everyone involved. Ethicists, artists, philosophers,
You're everyone.
everyone. This is shaping the future for all of us. We all need to be part of the conversation.
It's amazing to think that something like AI and call centers can make us think about all this, about what it means to be human.
It's all connected, really. The choices we make about AI, they reflect who we are, and they'll shape the world we live in.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one thing you hope our listeners take away from this?
That the future isn't something that just happens. We create it together. And AI, it's going to be disruptive, yeah, but it's also a huge opportunity to reimagine what it means to be human in this crazy century.
It's not about being scared. It's about, like, seeing the possibilities and making sure those possibilities, they work for us, for our values.
Exactly. And that's where you, our listener, come in, learn about these technologies, ask questions, demand transparency, and never stop exploring what it means to be human in this crazy, changing world.
Well said. This has been quite a journey. We started with AI and call centers and ended up talking about, like, the meaning of life practically.
We did, didn't we?
I hope this got our listeners thinking, maybe even sparked some curiosity.
Me too. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep being human.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for listening, everyone.